Hi everybody, this is the Rambling Toffee. How can I start this video with a big fat wow? What a result last night. What an absolute fantastic result last night. Before the game, obviously we come off the Nottingham Forest win, and you know, Liverpool, I hate derbies. I hate derbies in every way fashionable. I've watched them, God knows, 40-something years, 41 years of supporting Everton. And every time I've been watching a derby game, it always the same thing that happens to me. I can't stand watching them. I can't stand the feel. I can't wait till the game's over and that I can just get on with my life in some ways. But and even last night, you know, there was still nervousness from myself all the way through the game, because Liverpool are a very good football team. I'm being honest, and you know, they are challenging, you know, for the title. They wanted to stay in it. They still could, but it's very much at a point now where I don't think they are going to be challenging for the title. I think it's over for them, and I think it's more probably Man City and Arsenal, a two horse race to see who wins the title for this season. That's just my thought. But it was, from my perspective, we've this season and the last few seasons, it's just been so stressful, so difficult being an Evertonian, you know, trying to get behind in this team, and you know, all the hope that we have week in, week out, that we'll get a performance, that we'll play well, that we can progress, that we can get forward. It's just not happened. Stop, start. The amount of managers that we've had, and chopping and changes on the field, new players, old players, you know, and then off the field, of course, all the crap that's been ongoing, especially this season with the point deductions and everything that's been ongoing with that. The ownership issue that is just ongoing, and it's just like dragging on. That needs to be sorted soon as, because we need to know for our future where we're going to go. It's looking likely, I mean, after last night's result, I'll get into that game in a minute, but it's looking likely now that, you know, we're going to be safe. But, you know, it's a big game against Brentford. They're all big games at this moment. And if we can get another result, I think we're fine. And I think we can, hopefully, if the points deduction or the appeal that we've had for the 2-point deduction comes back before the end of the season, they're saying, and we get rescinded, you know, a point given back, or even both points given back, then that's even better. That's an extra couple of points that we'll deserve to have back, hopefully come back. So we'll see on that appeal front. But how can I start with that performance last night? Because from the get-go, you know, the team was set up very well by Sean Dyche. I'm very critical of Sean Dyche. I've always said on my podcast and everything else, I've always been very critical of him. I think some of the decisions he's made, I think some of the, you know, tactical, and his stubbornness that he has, not changing things and trying to be different. I've been critical of him this season more than ever, and I do feel that in the summer, if we have clarity in the ownership situation, that maybe we move forward with a new coach, a new manager, taking the club forward, to go forward and be part of changing the mentality, not just on the field with the players and who we have in recruitment, but off the field as well. The mentality shift. We have got one more season in the grand old lady, and we need to get ourselves in a position that going forward, that we can move into the new stadium with a lot more optimism, a lot more positivity, that things are starting to move forward for us. But at this moment, it's still up in the air off the field, but on the field, it's looking likely now that we'll be safe, and that we'll be in the Premier League for next season. But we move forward. But last night, Sean Dyche set the team up, set the tactics up, and got everything set in its ways. And it was just a great team performance. We made Liverpool look ordinary. Yeah, they can have all the possession in the world, and they did throughout the game. We played our setup. We set up perfectly. And I thought, you know, performances throughout the team were, you know, like, you know, 9 and 10 out of 10 on all the players. I think they all put a shift in, from the goalkeeper all the way through to Dominic Calvert-Lewin as striker. I just felt it was a really, really unifying performance. I think we got right at them right at the beginning. They were giving away fouls. They couldn't deal with what we were throwing at them. And I think the biggest thing, my man of the match was Idrissa Gueye, and I just felt that his performance of man marking and keeping McAllister quiet throughout that game, and we saw that he is the linchpin. He's his thread through for Liverpool. And when we stopped him playing, a lot of the other players couldn't, they couldn't get us forward as much. Yes, they created opportunities still. They are a wonderful football side. They are a good team. They've got some great players. And, that's why they're where they are in the table. And that's why they were challenging for the title. And they were going quite far on all fronts. But we went out there, did our job, absolutely fantastic. Worked our socks off. And I mean, it was, from my point of view, it felt very 1994. It felt like that game when Duncan Ferguson got that header. Very reminiscent to Calvert-Lewin's goal last night. Very much the same. The feeling, the dogs of war, everybody going at it. But not just that, because how things set off in the first half, the first 15, 20 minutes of that game, set the tone. And the fans saw it. Everybody saw it. We were right behind it, and the atmosphere changed, and you can feel it. And it's a derby game, so naturally there is always going to be that atmosphere for a derby game. But there's always that apprehension there and that nervousness, which always comes from me and from where I sit in the main stand. I wasn't there last night because I have a condition where I get dizzy, and I just decided on this occasion, and I wish I was there. I was a bit devastated last night that I wish I did go, but I think I just made the right call for my own health conditions to actually watch it at home. And it was, as much as I was watching the game and we went 1-up, and it was richly deserved, and for all the, it doesn't matter all the possession they have, but the commitment that we got into getting those positions and hassling them and making them make mistakes. And it was great to see, and it's what Everton ethos is all about, because even in the times of the Dogs of War and that period in the 90s, the great Everton team in the 80s, our midfield and everybody at the defence and everybody else is, it's not just about quality, what you can do on the football. It's what you do off the ball, and it was hassling it. It was committed. It was determined. It was fantastic. It was everything that we know this Everton team is supposed to be. And very much still, people will say it's a Dyche team. It's a Dyche setup. It's the way it's played. It's very much like that. But it did have that element where we don't have the quality of a Liverpool team with the superstars or the players that they have, but we can actually do something. So we can do it differently and be effective. But it's very weird when we win football matches, like I mentioned, it's like different world. We beat Forest 2-0, played okay in that game. They were still disappointed within that performance where we were giving the ball away last night. But last night it was the next step. It was just like, they knew what they were doing. They had a plan. They had an idea. That's what it's been all about. And, if we didn't have the 8-point deduction taken up, we would have been hard to say. We were just like waiting to the end of the season. We're stress-free and everything else. But that 8-point deduction has obviously pulled us into the position that we're in. That's for another story. That's for another day. I've on my podcast, I'll put a description below. I did a podcast pre-derby game. So I'm just doing this video now just for my reaction, because I just wanted to get what my feelings are instantly out to you guys and what you think, because what did you feel after that game? Because it was such... For me, I was still nervous throughout, because I know what Liverpool are capable of on their best day. And thankfully, for me, Pickford made some good saves and kept us, in a position that, but we richly deserved it. And I felt off. It doesn't matter what possession is. Forget about the stats for that. I think to a man, everybody was absolutely fantastic. And it just, long may it continue. And that is what we need. And I hope Sean Dyche, about mentality, and it's getting that mentality right. Hopefully, those players realise that is what we want when we go to home games, away games, doesn't matter. That's the bare minimum, is to go out there and put in a shift. Work hard, chase around a bit, do everything you can to get yourself an advantage. But that's what I want. That's what fans want, that's what we all want. I want that. I want players putting that commitment. And that's when, after the game like last night, the Derby game, we haven't won since 2010. What, from my mindset, is this. It's making us care about the players that play for Everton Football Club. When we lost 6-0 against Chelsea, when we've lost games in the season and we've dropped off and the players not performing and the game, and we're thinking, what's the plan out there? What are they doing? Why are they not, what's happening here? And we've seen it week in, week out throughout the season. There has been games like that quite frequently. And we ask the questions, and that's where the criticism comes from. That's where the criticism comes from to the manager, to the players. And it's looking at them and thinking, do they actually care about Everton Football Club? Do they want to actually win with Everton Football Club? They're football players. I think the first mindset is they want to win football matches. That's what any football player wants to do, any sports person wants to do. But we don't see it. So you're at Goodison and you see your team just lackluster and not, giving the impression that they don't care. That is what's been going on throughout the season. And yes, there's been lots of things thrown at the club through the points deduction. Obviously, the ownership issue and that dragging on, and all the this, that and the other, and all the crap that's been thrown at the club. And to an extent, that can play on minds of players, and that can get on players' minds, the manager's mind, staff and everyone else. I can understand that. But you're still football players, and you should wipe all that away from your mind and get on the field and do a job. And a lot of the time this season, it's just been very, very difficult to watch and to see. But last night, we saw a little bit against Forest, but last night was just like chalk and cheese, night and day. It was just like, this is the Everton that I love, and this is the Everton I care about. And if you are putting them shifting and you putting that commitment kind in, week in, week out like that, and that's your bare minimum, and that's your first protocol, when in time the quality will hopefully start to show through, and you'll start to see what these players are good players. But at the moment, we saw a lot of that last night. We saw moments of quality, little bits of quality throughout the game. We saw what Dominic Calvert-Lewin is capable of, and what we've been missing from him. We've seen that. We see from our defence how great Jared Branthwaite is, and James Tarkowski's been in the defensive sense. Mikolenko, as much as he's not great going forward, but he put that kind of shift in last night, even when it looks like he might have broke his foot. I don't know if he has yet. Wait for the press conference for that today, find out about him. But he played on till half-time. Running around while hobbling on his foot, that just shows a commitment there, and that gives you that feeling, in fact, a care, that he cares, he's willing to play on even through injury. I believe Dominic Calvert-Lewin played through still having a knee injury and actually having a sickness bug. He played through it last night. That is driving yourself through brick walls for your team, not just the fans, not just, your managers and everything else, but your players, the players that you play with. That is what we need to see, and that's what we need to see more and more of. And if we see more and more of, we can start growing, start feeling better about ourselves, that if we can come through this. But again, I will say this now, we've got 4 games left. If we can get a result against Brentford, yes, Luton lose at Wolves, we're mathematically safe. But we still got Sheffield United to play. We still got Luton to play. We still got 2 games that we can, but we have to keep going. I will party till it's 1999, but last night, was the pivotal of a long time coming. He's been waiting for it for a long, long time. And I'm just pleased and proud for the younger fans who have not seen that. Can't remember the last time a derby win at Goodison with fans in the stadium. Last time, of course, we had the win at Anfield when there was nobody in the stadium. But that is what it's all about. And it's great they can experience it. I've experienced it many times in my 41 years supporting the football club. And, but that performance last night, as I mentioned, just again was bang on. And I think he was pivotal for how we played in that midfield. I thought Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil just run their absolute socks off for, for the whole of that game. As much as the quality going forward when he did to get the ball, I think McNeil was a little bit better than Harrison in that element. But they just run and battled, and it was right across the board. James Garner had a really good game. Really pivotal as well. He was actually doing, back to his best in a sense in his role. I thought he was a little bit more disappointing in, I think it wasn't the not the first game, but I think of course the game against Chelsea, and I think that's everybody. That's a disappointing game. But putting it out to Sean Dyche, you know my views on this if you listen to my podcast. The future is somewhere else, but props to him. He set everything right, set the tone right. He's got his tracksuit right, so he's staying with that. He did the right thing, obviously after the Chelsea defeat, to actually everybody sit down, look at themselves, see what else they can do and try and change it. And, well, it's obviously worked. And long may it continue, and long may it continue into the summer, and then, another season in the Premier League, one final season at Goodison Park. And we have to, we have to move forward. And that'll be for another day. That'll be in the summer. And hopefully the ownership will be sorted. I hope we're in a better position going forward. Then, we can start to see a brighter future. But great result last night. I can wind up my wife, who's a Liverpool fan. It's been fantastic to do that. She's been very quiet on the whole subject, so... So I can understand, but it's been nice to actually, get one up on them because it's been such a long time coming. So thank you very much for that. I'll put a description below. If you want to listen to my podcast, it was pre-derby derby game. So it was talking more about the Forest game and everything else regarding that. But we move forward. Brentford next. Let's go at them again. Let's get the result. Let's keep moving. And see where we take to next, because that's what we can do. So on that note, thank you for listening, watching. Come on, you Blues. This is the Rambling Toffee signing out, and I'll speak to you again all soon. So take care. Bye-bye.